being married to an alcoholic. Let's talk about it. I want to preface this video by saying I'm not here to speak poorly of my ex-husband. I think that outside of alcohol, he's an amazing human, and I think he really loved me. However, alcohol is damaging, and it changes people and causes people to do things that they never imagined. So I will be talking more about those times. I was with my ex-husband for 4 years during this time, and it's probably one of the loneliest times of my life. Even though I was married, it's like I didn't have a partner. I didn't have a husband. And some of the things that I went through, I look back and I can't even believe. The turning point when I realized that there was no hope, I was done, was when I had to fly back from Hawaii because he was admitted in the hospital, and I had to get him out of the hospital, take him to his apartment in Las Vegas. And when I walked in, because he wasn't prepared for me to be there were just dozens and dozens of vodka bottles, empty vodka bottles everywhere. And that's when I realized this is bigger than me. I can't win at this. It's beyond my ability to fix. So that's when I knew it was the end. And I did try to talk to him, had friends help him into a rehab. And I remember even during that time that he was in rehab for a month, that I didn't have to worry about him. I realized I wanted a life I just did not have to worry about the person I was married to driving drunk or doing something because they were drunk, or getting more ill than he already was. So that's why I divorced my second husband. I've never talked about it with people. I've been a very private person. However, I want to share my story in hopes that it will help someone out there, because I think it's a difficult place to be in, and it's an embarrassing place to be in when you're married to an alcoholic. It's out of your control, and it's a decision whether you're going to live with it or not. So, more to come on that.
Because I was married to an alcoholic, and I was lost in this cycle of staying and hoping things would change, and also knowing that they wouldn't, and trying to do everything that I could to change the situation except for leave. So holding that boundary and leaving and choosing to let this person live their life however they wanted to and have it affect their relationships was a big deal for me. Because previous to that, I let everything go. I was people pleasing. I was overworking. I was overcompensating for, this person's downfall and lack of bringing an equal, effort to the table. So if that resonates for you, I get it. It's fucking hard. And I felt shame for a long time by staying in this relationship. I made excuses for myself. I made excuses for him. I very much did not want to share that information, but to be honest, it's real and it's true and it sucked. And I am hyper vigilant in a way now, and also still see patterns of that type of behavior repeating in some of my relationships. So, it's a lesson for me to know that that work and that healing and that kind of understanding of that addictive cycle is still really relevant to me. But I know more now. And I was really able to stand up for myself, for my future, for my children, for my own mental health, for my business too. So now you know.
Y'all want to know where I hit rock bottom and I decided that enough was enough and I needed to do something with myself? What kind of healthy, mentally stable person deals with an addict as their spouse? Or an alcoholic as their spouse? When I asked myself that question, it was like, yeah, I got some work to do. I have some major mental work to do. I got personal accountability. I looked within myself. I saw all of the defects in my brain that I needed to work through. And it was scary at first. And it was like, oh crap, am I really this person? Do I really need to get help? It was almost shameful at first. It was shameful. I felt like, no, I knew everything. I was a know-it-all. Y'all, the best thing I ever did was seriously ask myself what kind of mentally healthy person sticks around and deals with that shit. Just being real here. Work on you. You're worth it. Find your defects and use them as fuel. Work on them. Figure out what it is that's holding you back. Because I'm telling you now, it's not just the addict or the alcoholic in your life that's holding you back. It's not. It's you. Because I held myself back for years because I focused on his ass all the time. I love him to death. If y'all don't know me, I've been with my husband since I was 14. He was using drugs and alcohol for 10 years, and he's been sober for 10 years. So we've gone through the roller coaster, and we have figured the way out. And we figured out that it's not just him, it's me too. And if y'all can tell, this is what happens whenever I get a little anxious. Yeah, I have a little bit of redness, so it's still in me. It's part of it. Working on it. Work on you. You're worth it.
Living with an alcoholic's going to destroy you. You know, it will. It's going to wreak havoc in your life. And he will never be completely yours because he's a slave to alcohol, because the alcohol used to treat his underlying condition and now it's not. And he's just going to be showing up. And it gets progressively worse, never better. So it's not like this is going to be something that's going to, like, he'll get over it, right? The thing is, he doesn't have the combination to the safe that holds his freedom. He doesn't have that combination, and he can't come up with that combination on his own. Like, he doesn't have the ability to, nor will he have the ability to, on his own, do that more than likely. So he's going to have to go to some people, whether it's a 12-step program or a clinical or a treatment center, to where people are around that do have the combination of his freedom. And you know what? You don't have the combination to his freedom either. Like, you don't have that combination to his safe where all this shit's locked in, where his freedom's locked in. You don't have it. And no matter how hard you try to come up with it, you won't be able to unlock that safe. But what you can do is give him one little piece of the code, and that's a boundary from you, to where he's going to seek the other pieces of the code to open up his safe for freedom. That's really how I look at it.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Everyday with Idara Young. If you've not yet subscribed, this is the right time to do so. Kindly click on that subscribe button and turn on notification for more videos from me. Thank you. Today we'll be talking about a very sensitive topic. It's not business as usual. It's the topic or the issue of alcoholism, specifically alcoholism in marriages. All right, and looking at the title of this video, it's pertaining to having an alcoholic husband. Not saying that there aren't alcoholic wives where the husband is the victim in the relationship, but this video is specifically for alcoholic husbands living with a non-alcoholic wife. Alright, and it's very sensitive because a lot of things can happen while living with someone that is an alcoholic. A lot of things. It could be physical abuse, it could be emotional abuse, it could be financial abuse. It's so many things, and I do not want to take it for granted. So while I was preparing for this video, I was really trying to brainstorm on things I can say, in this video, and I stumbled on a very heartbreaking story that I saw on Quora, and I felt I needed to bring this up here in this video. It's something that happens a lot of time in relationships, so please just bear with me. This story, I saw it on Quora, so I'm going to be reading straight from Quora. All right. Somebody did post this question. The person said, so my husband hit me for the first time ever when he was drunk and hungry, and I felt really scared, and I left him today. Why do I feel so empty? I want him back, but I know it's a bad idea. What should I do? And then a Quora user answered this person. This person said, I want to tell you a story. I was with my first husband for 3 years before he put his hands on me. He held me down and shook me like a rag doll while yelling in my face that I was a whore. He then slapped my cheeks and yelled, "Is that how you want it?" over and over. I didn't leave. It was another 4 years before he put his hands on me again in anger. For a year, we had argued or yelled at each other nearly every day. We had separated and lived apart for a few months, then got back together. It was fine for a month, but became increasingly angrier over the next 2. And one night, when it got particularly violent, I told him that our daughter and I were going to stay a few days with my mom. He told me to go. He told me to just go, and walked away. I was packing a bag when he walked into the room and told me I wasn't taking his daughter. I told him it was only for a couple of days while we both calmed down. As I turned back to address her, he came at my side full force and knocked me across the room, while the wind was knocked out of me when my ribs connected with a toy box and my head slammed into the wall. Complete daze, I heard my 2-year-old screaming, "Mommy!" and turned in just enough to see him carrying her out of the room while she called for me and cried. My legs were shaking while I pulled myself to my feet, but when I heard him open the back door, I ran as fast as I could down the hall and into the kitchen, jumped on his back and wrapped my arms around him so that I had a hold of her in case he let go. She was kicking at him with her tiny little legs flaring, and he put her down and threw me off him. I told her to run to her room and close her door and don't come out no matter what. For once, she did exactly like she was told, and thank goodness, because it then backhanded me into the stove. For a moment, there was this flicker of regret on his face, and he came over to me, landed on his knees, and hugged my waist. Why did they always do this? Back to the story. Then he looked at me with the same cold expression as before, stood to get in my face and tell me that I needed to go get her and go right now, and he went back outside. We were in the car when I remembered I had a 50-pound bag of dog food in the trunk for our Matif. I backed up to the fence, ripped the bag open, and upended the entire thing into the backyard, told the dog I would be back, and turned to see him staring at me from about 20 feet away. He smiled the most evil smile I've ever seen on a man and said, "I thought I told you to go. You better do that. Do that right now." You would think I wouldn't have gone back, right? The next time he put a tin couch pillow over my face and punched the pillow and then broke my phone so I couldn't call for help. I managed to shove him off and screamed at him, "Never again." I kicked him out and he laughed at me. Eventually he left and went to stay with one of his friends. The next time he was waiting for me in the house when I got off work, he swung the freezer door at my head, but I ducked. So he picked up the stick vacuum and swung at me like a baseball bat. Again, he missed, but the vacuum hit the wall and exploded. Then he picked up the fish tank and threw it to the floor so hard that it shattered on impact. He walked outside. I locked the door. The locks had been changed, but when I had gone to work, I had forgotten to lock one. He simply kicked in the front door and chased me to the bedroom, shoved me down the bed and started tearing at my clothes. He was hell-bent on raping me. I begged him to let him go, but he didn't pay any mind. He had the crotch nearly ripped out of my jeans. When I punched him straight in the nose, I don't think I'd ever actually punched anyone before, but the blood that came flowing from his left nostrils was satisfying enough to let me know I did it just right. He left that night with a cracked nose and a black eye. The next time he came back, he kicked in the other door and tried to put his heel through my skull. I punched him again and he punched me back, but by that time I was so done with any pain he could dish out that I barely felt it. I looked him straight in the eyes and told him that I was filing for divorce and getting a restraining order, something I should have done a long time ago. That is a sad story of a woman that was married to an alcoholic, abusive man. Now, you might know an alcoholic man that is not abusive, that is physically abusive, but usually an alcoholic man comes with his own issues, something added to it. So if he's not physically abusive, he might be emotionally abusive. If he's not emotionally abusive, he might be draining the finances of the home, just absent-minded, not serious at work, not a provider at home, a lazy alcoholic man. It's not easy living with an alcoholic husband, and so I would like that if you are in that kind of situation, you should speak to someone that you think can help you. There are marriages where one was an alcoholic and the other was not, and then the one that was alcoholic decided to allow their partner help them, and then they became non-alcoholic and the marriage survived. But then there are some marriages where no matter what the partner of this alcoholic person does, the alcoholic person just refuses to accept the help, refuses to change, refuses to heed to the advice of this non-alcoholic spouse that loves them so much. Now, in those kind of marriages, it usually crashes. It's either this spouse that is not alcoholic ends up losing their mind, or the marriage comes to an end. So if you are in this type of situation, I am really, really sorry, and I hope that you can get all the help that you really, really need. You can comment below and let me know. You can share your stories, your ideas, what you think. And if you've ever been in this situation and survived, you can share your story in the comments section below as well. We want to read from you, we want to hear from you, we want to learn from you. Alright, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you like this video. Subscribe and click on that notification button to get notified whenever I drop new videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.